Hi, I'm Matt So, and I'm running for Student Union President.
Hi, I'm Tahseen, Chowdhury, and I'm running for Student Union Vice President.
So I guess the two things that we're kind of focusing on in our platform are unity and stability. Unity in the sense that our platform encompasses a lot of different aspects of Stuyvesant life. But for the unity, one of my biggest points here was bringing in Spectator, Big Sibs, and Arista into the SU meetings, because essentially we want all of you making the decisions because the outcomes are so intertwined, right? And then also unity in the sense that we want to bring other people that are interested in student union that aren't necessarily already in it, give them a chance to, pursue their own kind of plans and goals. And then also unity in the sense that I'm trying to start an inter-school coalition with other top-tier high schools in New York City. This is something I kind of borrowed from the Bar Student Advisory Council. I'm the president of it, so I kind of know the structure and how I would want to run these other meetings.
And stability in the sense of financial stability, where we want to secure the SU budget for years to come. We want to set up a model that people will follow for as long as they need to. As you've probably seen, this scraping financial model will secure the SU budget and make sure that it's constantly growing. And we're going to have an annual return of 30% on our base every year. So that'll make sure that the SU is stable for years to come. And stability in the sense that we're helping caucuses and bringing the caucuses together to build a strong SU that will be able to work to improve school life.
Yeah. So we've been working together for a long time. Since the beginning of his freshman year, we've been working on projects together. Semi-formal we planned together when I was a sophomore, and then even now we still work on projects closely. And I feel like that's kind of how the SU should be. Different grades should be interacting. But I think there's no one else in Stuyvesant that has as much experience as us in the SU. I think that we have a lot of interesting perspectives from the other things that we've taken even outside of the SU, other responsibilities and other kind of other things we've done outside of the SU. And then also I think that we just work really well together. I think that over the past 2 years we've come to know each other really closely.
Yeah, I think something that's very important is that as working in all these levels, we've seen the problems that SU has, and we've accepted the problems, and we're willing to fix them, and we are going to fix them, right? And since we've tested these solutions in different places, so we know exactly what we're doing, and we know what the problems are. We've tested solutions, and we know how to apply them, if that makes sense, on a larger scale. We want to work with Big Sibs to fight apathy, starting from the base, starting from freshmen. So we're going to spend Camp Stuyvesant Part 1 pretty much just working with them to hand out mailing lists and just trying to get the freshmen more involved, starting early.
Yeah, this is something actually we kind of started last time when the new freshmen came in. Aries and I spoke to the incoming freshmen about the SU and how they could apply and things like that. So we want to definitely be getting the information out to the freshmen as early as possible.
Okay. So I think what's important working with the administration is trying to prove to them that what you're saying is really representative of the student body, and having research-based evidence when you're talking to the administration and we're trying to convince them to try to do something, right? So I think a lot of what the SU has been doing before was they've been focused on just doing surveys and doing petitions and then showing them this is what we want. But it's more of we're going to be focused more on, instead of just doing that, we're going to be focused on research-based propositions where we're going out and doing educational research to figure out whether or not these plans would work at Stuyvesant and how well they'd work at Stuyvesant. Yeah. I'm going to spend my entire summer working with the caucuses to help them plan everything they want to get done and provide them with the resources that they need. It's going to be very much focused on the SU getting the resources for the caucuses as their for what they want to do and making sure that they have access to everything. And we want to really be in the loop about everything doing. So we're gonna have like master operations spreadsheets to like keep track of everything that they're doing and make sure that we know what's happening. Because I think I'll give a specific example. This year I was focused on building a department of daily well-being, which would maintain the facilities, and it wasn't going very well, but I figured out a way to like set it up. And then around that same time I started going to SLT meetings, and the SLT is working the same initiative I was, so I just put my stuff into the SLT to make it work faster. So I think like if the SU knows about everything the caucuses are doing, they can really like provide them with access to resources and things that they and like give them the networks and connections that they need to get what they want to get done. So the student union task forces are pretty much based around this year's sophomore caucus director, Department of Operations. So basically anyone can sign up for if anyone ever notices that there's a problem with STI and they want to work to improve it, then they can sign up and they can run a task force. They'll have full access to like all the resources and networks the student union has. So like if someone wants to, I don't know, let's talk about facilities, right? If someone wants to improve facilities, they might not know who to go to or how to get it done, but like we know exactly how to do it. We'll be providing them with the resources so they can get it done, right? Because they're ambitious students and they want to get what they want to get done. They just don't have access to the resources that they need, and we're going to be providing them with that. So it'll be completely open to everyone, and it'll be and like as soon as they apply, we're going to set up a meeting to figure out the feasibility of it, set up a plan of action to make sure it gets done. The IT department will. Well, I've worked in IT for a while now, so I know exactly what we're looking for when we need an IT director. So we're going to need those for all of our mass email servers and everything. That's not something everything I know about, but I know exactly what the IT department needs. I know for like the past 2 or 3 years we haven't really had a strong IT department because the SU hasn't been selecting based on what they really need. Like the IT directors don't really know exactly what they're doing, but there are people inside that know what they're doing, and I know how to figure out who's. Everything that we bring in from somewhere else is like always improved from before, right? So before my department of operations was very like laid back, like people just did what they wanted to do, and we gave them resources whenever they needed it. But that like sort of slowed things down, and not everyone was ambitious enough to get what they wanted to get done. So we're gonna have like master operations spreadsheets to make sure that they're doing what they're doing all the time, and we're putting constant updates on where everything is, because some people like end up being much more ambitious and much more hardworking than others, and we want to like level that playing field and make sure everyone is on task all the time. Okay, so I think a lot of what I didn't do was a good operational management of my caucuses and make sure that like everyone knows what's happening at all times, and I think I'm going to work to like really improve that. I think as an incumbent, one of the great things is that I've been able to test different things that I'm putting in here now, and I've been able to like really figure out whether or not these things work, and then try different approaches. So that's great. So I think also another thing that I think I should have done more is earlier we worked much closer with the SU. So I'm going to make sure the caucuses are working much more closer with me, because as I started getting closer with the SU, I guess what I was getting done and how fast I was getting it done was increasing dramatically, and like the ease of getting it done was increasing much more dramatically. So I want to make sure that caucuses have everything that they need and are getting it done well enough.
Before I came into this position, I wish I had known a bit more about the kind of financial situation. That's why it's kind of stressed in our platform, the scraping financial plan, because in past years, there's been a bit of loss, and I would like to reverse that. But the only way to do that is to kind of like analyze the past 3 years of where it could have been improved, and that's what we've kind of been doing for the entire year. We've been looking at spots that money could have been saved, and then we're going to apply that philosophy to next year.
So we can't really like give specific numbers, but over the past 3 years, which of the budget data that we've analyzed, there's always a set amount of money we put into events, and that money always brings in about a specific amount of money every year, and it's always come out to about 30%. So that's where we're getting that number from, and that's what we expect, right? So our goal with this financial model is to stabilize the current budget and stabilize the actual budget, right? Because what's happening now is we give out money to clubs and pubs without really looking at the amount of money we're making every year, and that's very problematic because we're not really sure whether or not we're going above or below. And as clubs ask for more money, because over the past 3 years, it's clear that like the amount of money that clubs and pubs are asking for has increased dramatically. So I think what's happened is our revenue has stayed the same, and the amount that they're asking for has increased. So we haven't really noticed that because it's over a period of time. So that's why we're beginning to lose money. It's because we don't sit down and analyze this. So I think our financial plan is really important in that it analyzes the revenue that we're making and then gives out the money based on the revenue that we're making, not just based on what they're asking for. So it's like the majority of the money will go to clubs and pubs. The second largest money will go to refund the base, and the third largest part would be like to fund like small ass expenses that we have throughout the year. I think. Yeah, so all the club pub expenses would come out of the revenue. Any expenses that we're not making money out of would come out of the revenue. All other expenses for events that we have would come out of the base funding, and that will always bring in a revenues.
Yeah. And then the idea of putting, the second largest portion of the revenue back into the base is so the larger base we have, the greater revenue we could have later on. So essentially, if we kind of slice off a bit of the revenue and put it back into the base, the next year we'll have a larger revenue. And hopefully that trend will continue if this is kept for the next X amount of years. And also, this is just kind of our philosophy of how we should be spending money for the SU. If a club really needs the money and we're in a situation that we have to go over, we're willing to make that decision. So right now we've done a lot of what we can do. We've tried to pull the blueprints from Battery Park City. We've tried to get the permits, and we've tried to get contractors to come up. The real problem is that there's a lot of bureaucracy, right? To get these things approved by the Department of Education takes forever, right? They'll just leave you hanging indefinitely. So what we can do is just continue the effort. We can't promise to reform the Department of Education. We can't promise that we're going to go in there and beat up whoever's not approving our permits. But what we will do is we'll just continue fighting for it as in any way that we can.
Yeah, I think a different approach we're going to take over the summer is we're going to reach out to local politicians to help us pretty much expedite the process because because it's just been taking us way too long to work through the bureaucracy. People haven't been responsive, and they're just bouncing us between Battery Park City and the School Construction Authority, which has been insanely annoying. So we're just going to talk to local politicians to make sure to get them involved in getting this done.
I mean, I guess our platform is trying to reach into a lot of different aspects of Stuyvesant life. We're not just focusing on one thing because I feel like that just leads to slowing down work in the other areas. So since we have a very clear vision that we've been working on for a while, I feel like if we get into office, we'll be able to execute on these things pretty quickly. I think we have a good amount of experience behind us that no other students have that would help us as well.
Yeah, we can get things done efficiently, quickly. We have everything that we need. We're just going to get started.